Good morning. We are getting ready to go live Monday morning. A new week of IG Lives. I love doing IG Lives. I love meeting these studio owners. Amazing people, always doing amazing work in the community, bringing yoga and wellness. Oh, you're already here. I see you. Perfect. Let's start. Let's just get into it. Okay, let's see. Let's get those buttons
Good morning.
working.
How are you?
There we go. Good morning.
It is
It's
Monday.
Monday,
Time to start
right?
a new
Oh my
week.
goodness.
I'm great. And
How
yourself?
are you today? Good, good. I'd love to start. Can you just
Okay.
introduce
So
yourself and
I
then
am
we'll get
Shawandra
into it?
Ford, and I am the founder here locally in Memphis, Tennessee of Brwnskn Yoga.
That's amazing. So you have, I was reading your website and you've been doing so many amazing things. So you have an actual physical
Yes,
studio
that's correct.
space as well. Is that correct? How
I
long
have had this
have you
space.
had
I
that
think
space?
I'm actually going into my third year. This April, we'll be going into our third year. We're located in Whitehaven, here in Memphis, Tennessee, where I grew up. So I have been in this space so many times as a youth, and it's an honor to.
Oh, I lost you. All right, hopefully she will come back. I think Instagram has, let's see, we're going to try this again. Shawandra. Oh, I wanted to hear what you were saying. Okay, let's try again. Let's add her in again.
There we go.
There you are. Yay! Okay,
Take
take
two.
two. Take two. Take two. All right, we're going to start from the beginning. So you're actually born and raised in the area, and then you opened up a yoga studio in your hometown. I love that. I mean, really
Yes,
bringing
ma'am.
yoga to your community. What has it been like? So you opened up around pandemic time then. So 3 years ago,
Well,
you were
I
just right
actually
at that
started
cusp.
teaching during the pandemic, right before. One of my very first schools where I implement yoga and social emotional learning was Vision Prep Charter School. And for these particular group of students, I was actually teaching them via Zoom. So I'm teaching kindergartners who have never been in school before. I'm teaching anywhere from kindergarten through
Oh
12th
my,
grade, Monday through Friday, and almost like as a support teacher. So I would go in, we would log into our Zoom account. I had an entire curriculum laid out for them for the entire year, and we practiced yoga and social emotional learning.
wow. And I mean, the parents, that must be huge also for the parents. I mean, to have kids go, it was hard for everyone to go through this, but the little kids, that was always the thing that just, it broke your heart. And so giving them these tools at such a young age,
Absolutely.
what an amazing
And it was
gift.
the most dynamic part, or the biggest takeaway for me from that, is that the parents who have never practiced yoga, they're in the background with their students, and they're actually participating along. And then them reaching out to me on a side note and saying, "Hey, Miss Ford, can I come to a class? Do you have anything available for adults?" And them wanting to actually be a part of the practice. So not only was the Zoom was it such a great experience, we had to look for the positive. So it was a great experience for the students, but it was also a great experience for the adults as well.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that we all realized came out of the pandemic was reaching a whole new group of people, because it was via Zoom, and that was an opportunity for so many people that maybe couldn't get to a studio or didn't have the time, or for whatever reason they all of a sudden had these new options. And that was one of the things I was grateful for. I mean, in all the
There was
darkness
a little bit
there
of
was a
light,
little bit of,
Yeah.
a little bit of light. Yeah. Do you
Uh,
remember your first
yes.
yoga class?
I'm a big Ashtanga. My probably one of my first classes was Ashtanga out here in Memphis at Lifetime Fitness, and I would go there every day after work, and I would practice yoga. One of the teachers, Amy Morris and Troy and Jen, they played a very big part in my yoga practice. in me wanting to be involved in teaching, and they were just magnificent teachers. One of my biggest things that I had on my bucket list is that I wanted to practice with Laruga Glazer. And last year I had the opportunity to travel to Greece. I practiced with her over in Mykonos, and it was just completely amazing. Yeah, I was completely starstruck, and I was just like, okay, okay, don't stare at her. But she's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you remember what prompted you to try yoga? Was it a friend that said, check this out? Were you
No,
just
I think
curious
I've
about it?
always been into going out to the gym and trying new things. I was always big in Pilates, strength training. My mom passed away in 2010, and I had never actually taken like a real, I want to say a real yoga class, but I was just on Zoom. But I did grief counseling for a while. That didn't really do a lot for me, in my opinion. So I kind of almost sort of kind of like fell into the yoga practice. I was actually at the
Yeah.
gym one day, and I had actually had bunion surgery, and I took a class. And I was like, maybe I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing
Yeah.
this. But, and then the very next day, I was like, maybe I should check with my doctor first. And then the very next day, I saw him at the gym, and I was like, I'm so
Right.
happy I asked him. So I just, yoga kind of came to me. Yoga sort of kind of found me. And then
Mm.
I just sort of kind of like fell in love with the practice along the way.
Yeah. How has your practice changed over the years? I mean, now you own a studio, you're so much more involved in the community. Do you find that you still
I
have
definitely
time?
have
Do you
to
have to
make
make time a
time. I
little bit?
practice a lot with my students. And I think that the fact that I get to go into spaces with people who never practice, even if I'm just doing the breathing techniques with them, I still benefit from it. Everything that I teach my students, I'm still learning along the way. I'm actually learning from them when I'm watching them take those intentional breaths for the absolute first time, not just our normal breathing
Mm.
process, but when I'm watching them do like intentional breathing, I'm still learning from them. Yep.
Yeah. And watching kids, I mean, there's something so special about watching kids. There's so much joy. And even just that moment, even if it is just that breath, the joy on their faces is always like you can't not be affected
Or
by it. I mean,
even
it's
seeing their
contagious.
faces when they actually get it. I think that's the biggest thing for me is when I realize and I'm looking at them and they actually get it and they're like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, get it. I see you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm super proud. But now I know that
Yeah.
what I'm saying is not just going in one ear and out of the other. They're actually taking it in. They're actually
Yeah.
engaging and they're actually feeling the difference that it's making within themselves, not just within their body, but just within themselves.
Mm.
And they also take those tools and resources back home to their parents and to their siblings, aunts
Yeah.
and uncles. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then they're just being, it's a ripple effect, it's like they're calm and then people around them are calm and happy and breathing, and it really
And it's
it's
very
it's an amazing
authentic.
effect it has.
It's really
Yeah.
them tapping into themselves, finding out what they like and what they don't like. Um, Even just realizing that we do have trauma and these things they do affect
Mm.
us. It affects the way that we think, the way that we act, the way that we respond to different things. And watching them come into a space
Mm.
where they feel absolutely comfortable and they can just truly be themselves. Yeah, it's really rewarding. I'm really proud of all of my students.
And you teach everything. I saw that you're training to teach, or you're already
I
training
have
with the
completed
Prison
my
Yoga Project as
certification with
well.
PYP, and actually, I had the
Yeah.
opportunity, thanks to Bill and Nicole, to go over to Arkansas last year, and I taught in an adult women's facility and a youth detention center. Very humbling, very overwhelming,
Yeah.
and I just think that we can't continue to put people in a cage and then release them and think that they're supposed to go out into the world and just adapt. We have to start giving people the tools and the resources that they need in order to grow and in order to like sort of kind of like reinvent themselves. I feel like I went through that process myself because everyone that I teach, I'm exactly just like them. I'm definitely from an underserved community. And had I had this practice years before, I'm sure I would be completely different at this point.
I see that all the time when I see kids yoga and people teaching kids, and I'm like, thank goodness they're starting really young and they're getting these tools. And even if they find it's not a good fit, they know that the option is always there. And
And
I'm
I
like,
think
thank goodness.
And I also think like
Because
they take
I
away from it. Like they can all yoga is so massive. I always teach people that, yoga is not just about doing the poses. We have 8 different limbs of yoga. So they also take away all these different pieces and they use it to what fits their need.
and even what you were mentioning earlier, just that moment when they realize it's just the breath. It's the easiest. I want to say it's the easiest, but we all know it's actually not always the easiest, but it's the most accessible, and it's something everyone can do and everyone has access to. And once they get that, everything else is just
Absolutely.
icing on the cake, right? It's just more amazing things to add to it. What did you do before you went down this wellness path? What was I always feel like it's always a previous life almost, right? Like, doesn't it sometimes feel like another world before you
Yeah.
got into this
My
wellness
background is
sphere?
IT and finance. I I actually work for here locally here in Tennessee for the largest school district within the state, Memphis Shelby County Schools. Kudos to them. I worked there for 22 years. I've worked in a couple of schools. I pretty much probably have worked in almost every department. But yeah, my background is more so IT and finance.
So did you ever, when you were back in that world, imagine if someone had said to you, hey, in like 10 years, you're going to be a yoga teacher, you're going to have a yoga studio.
I had
What
one
would you,
teacher,
would you
she was
have
real
like?
adamant about me taking the yoga teacher training, Amy, but my time was just so restricted. I just did not have the time to take the teacher
Yeah.
training. And once I actually decided that this is what I wanted to do full time, I don't really even think people realize like how that really affected me mentally because this was a job that I had since I was 18 years old. I have never worked anywhere else.
Wow.
So to be able to go back into that space and still be with the people that I love and with the community that I love and the students that I love, but I'm just doing something that's not as strenuous as what I was doing. It's very humbling. I'm very humbled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's an amazing journey. When you have those decisions, making that transition from that previous career to your current career, or any decision that feels like a very big decision, what's the first step that you take? Is there a person? Is there a mantra? Is there a practice that you go to first in those moments when you're like, this is a big decision, this is a big moment.
I
How do I get
have to
through this moment?
pray and I definitely have to ask God for discernment.
Mm,
I have 2 boys, they're 22 and 14. I have a husband, I have a family, and I
mm,
also have to take them into consideration. I have a little Yorkie poo, Lewis, he doesn't want to miss out on his water breaks. So I definitely pray about it a lot. And I definitely ask God for discernment
yeah.
and for Him to guide me. And even with Brwnskn Yoga and everything that I'm doing, I definitely feel like this is not a whole lot of me, but a whole lot of God. I don't think there's no way I would have been able to just do this completely on my own without his guidance. So I'm very grateful for that.
That's amazing. What do you see kind of the future for you looking like? Are there big plans? Do you want to expand? What's on the horizon that you're dreaming
Yeah,
about,
the biggest
or
thing is
that's
like
happening already?
definitely in the final process of creating a Brownskin yoga curriculum for inner city youth students. I am definitely um, looking to expand, opening. So with Shelby County Schools, we already have 3 wellness centers where I go out and I teach yoga and social emotional learning, and then we offer other resources to them. But now I'm in the process of expanding.
Yeah.
So right now we are on our official first tour, which is our spring wellness tour. So I am going into the schools and I am teaching yoga and social emotional learning, and I'm hitting kindergarten through 12th grade. I have some pre-K students that I work with as well. So at Foundation Academy, so I'm being able to reach them. I'm actually in school all at the same time, Supreme Yoga Institute to become a yoga therapist. And it's a lot, but it's very rewarding.
Yeah. It sounds like a great, like, it does sound like a lot, but it also sounds like there's so much love in it. You know, it makes it easier. It's still work, I always say, but it makes it easier to do, right? When you were coming up with the name Brownskin Yoga, how did you come up with that name?
Brown skin, I used to have on my license plate years ago. Probably, I think my husband is watching before I was married. And on your license plate, you can only have so many letters. And it was Brwnskn. And then I just added the yoga to it because it's just my favorite. And it's definitely representation. I think my students, they need to see something. When I walk into the space and I look like them and I talk like them, they're like, okay, Miss Ford, the yoga teacher, okay. And they get it. And I'm just, yeah, so brown skin has always been there. We just added the yoga to it.
If one of your students or a colleague or someone came up to you and said, I love what you're doing, I want to do this too, I want to be a yoga teacher, I want to create community, what would be a piece of advice you would give that person?
I would ask them, I would ask them why. Definitely why. Why would they choose yoga? Um,
Right.
And if it's in your heart, go for it. If this is who you are, then do it. Just know that it comes with a lot, and we're definitely having to sacrifice a lot. And but when it's truly who you are naturally, it comes across very authentic. You don't have to force anything. I think with my practice and with my teaching, and I walk into the space and I have my students in there, they're watching me, they get it. So I get to go up
Yeah.
and I get to show out and show up as my authentic self.
Mm,
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today and for chatting. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, so
Anything
we
you'd
have
like
like
to
so many
share?
different amazing things coming up for 2023.
Yeah.
Definitely our spring wellness tour that we kicked off last week. We are definitely taking part in the festivities for Autism Awareness Day. So we have an event scheduled for that. I have one of my favorite people. She is Sanjora, and she has written a book called Black Kids Do Yoga. She will be here with us in July for a book signing fair, so I'm super excited about that. And I'm excited for her.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm excited. So, closing out the year, or before we close out the year, to be able to do a girls empowerment summer camp for my students through the city of Memphis, their program, and they're going to send me some FTEs so I get some full-time employees to help me out a little bit, support our summer camp. And what else? Let's see. Oh, the
Yeah.
Brown Girl Yoga Tribe. I will be doing a work exchange with them in the month of August. So I'll get to go over there and teach a little bit, maybe go into the community to do a few things with our students over in Costa Rica. And I'm also affiliated with another program, Girls on the Run. We have our big 5K
Yeah.
coming up in April, and I'm always and forever grateful for those girls. They have made such a big, huge impact on my life,
Yeah.
and I'm just excited.
That's a lot of great things and all over, like Costa Rica, you're at
I'm
home. I
telling
mean, that's just,
you, I have been
it's
truly
so,
blessed, and to even find you, my circle, my community, we are very grateful for you, and just bringing awareness to different communities, not just our community, but definitely our community, and just communities across the world. I mean, I, the yoga practice, it has such a major impact on people, but they don't know it unless they try it. Yeah. So the fact that you're bringing
yeah.
awareness is
And,
amazing.
and I always try to tell that to people, you know, if you've taken one yoga class and it didn't feel
Hmm.
quite right, maybe try another one. Maybe the time wasn't right in your life. Maybe, and quite honestly, maybe the teacher wasn't a good fit or the space. And I always try to encourage people to keep trying and to try different teachers and to try different spaces. And because it changed my life as well. And everyone, that's why I love doing these IG lives, because every person that I connect with, it changed your life, and it's such a it's so powerful. We
Yeah,
want to
and
share
even like
this
for
with
my husband, he's
everyone.
actually in the process of getting his yoga teacher certification with
Yeah.
PYP. So it doesn't just stop here. Brwnskn
Okay.
Yoga is not just me,
Yeah.
Shawandra Ford. It's everyone. It's all of my students, my family members, whoever want to participate and be involved. All of my friends. You know, this is not just about me. It's definitely about community. I see you,
Yeah.
Couture girl. I need to see you in class. Hey. So I'm super proud of all of them.
That's and the
Yes, I
kids, do
have a
your kids do
22
yoga
year
as well?
old, and
Yeah.
he is supposedly getting his teacher certification, which I'm sure he will. But he's very much into yoga and all of the chakras, and they're all of I call him a little. What do I want to call him? A new generational hippie. And I have a fourth. I don't
Does he
know.
like that
I
term for
don't
you?
know, but he's like a new age hippie. And I have a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
I have to force him a little bit, but that's okay. And he's more so of an
Right.
athlete, and I teach a lot of athletes. So he falls into that
Yeah.
circle with us just in his own way. And that's another thing that I express to people, that you always show up in your own way. And when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're ready.
Yeah. Shawandra, thank you so much for joining us and for joining us as a studio
Absolutely.
partner for our next issue, which will be available in June, and we will be sending you copies. And we hope that your community enjoys it. And thank you so much for supporting our work and for doing amazing
Thank
work
you.
in your community as well. Thank you so much. I'm going to save this and I'll upload it to YouTube as
Thank
well,
you
so
for
we can
having
share
me.
it there as well.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Take care.